Hi guys, it's Tara and welcome back to Crafting with Curly Cues. Today I'm going to be making this super cute dragon card featuring the Hot Stuff stamp set from Clearly Besotted. I stinking love this stamp set. Like, look how many amazing dragons come in this stamp set. You get so many adorable images, there's so much variety, it's so cute. So I started out by stamping 4 of these little guys in some Memento Tuxedo Black ink on some Nina 110-pound Solar White cardstock, and I'm going to be Copic coloring these critters. So I will share with you guys that my original inspiration was a Sparkle and Shine challenge that was kind of a purple inspiration image. Well, in typical Terra fashion, I did not finish this card before the challenge closed, so I didn't actually get to enter this card in the challenge, but it still gave me some great inspiration, which is the whole point anyway. So I thought I'd just share that with you guys. So that is why I chose to color these bad boys purple, and I thought that it was just super sweet for these little dragons and that it worked out really well. So I'm only going to color one here for you because I pretty much do the exact same thing on all 4 of them, and it did take me a little while because I did quite a bit of shading. So as you can see on the side, I've got the caps of the 3 markers that I'm using to color these critters in. And there's a pretty big gap in between that darkest V09 and that middle tone that I'm using. So I did a bunch of the tip-to-tip technique to kind of get that to blend out. But I did really want some really dark shadows kind of up under the horns and tucked in some of those little spots where the arms are sitting and that sort of thing. So I wanted to make sure that I used a darker purple, but I don't have tons of purples, so I had to kind of compensate with that tip-to-tip. But I think that's something that's really great about Copics is that the fact that you can do the tip-to-tip makes it so you don't necessarily need to have every color. So I did put some R22 there, I believe it was, R20 or R22, those are my cheek colors, on the cheeks. And then I have some super light violets that I came in and colored kind of the horns and the belly. So I kept everything purple, so they're just really royal purple dragons. And then off screen, I added some detail, and I'll kind of tell you what I did for the detail, because I just could not leave well enough alone with these dragons. I just couldn't stop touching them. So for my card base here, kind of for my layout, I have a card base from Simon Says Stamp. This is some of their 120-pound white cardstock. And I have used the Pretty Pink Posh stitched film strip die. It's hard for me to say for some reason. Stitched film strip die. And I have cut that out of some Nina 110-pound Solar White. And then I am going to use this Mama Elephant Sweet Lilac pigment ink, and I'm going to do some ink blending. I'm channeling my inner Laura Basson here. So if any of you watch Laura Basson's channel, she ink blends on every single card, and she always gets this beautiful ink blending and makes these fabulous backgrounds. And she is always talking about how these Mama Elephant inks blend like butter. So, and that's how she says it. They blend like butter. So I thought that I would give this a shot. So I just got my hands on a few of these Mama Elephant pigment inks. I've been kind of resisting buying them because I don't actually use inks a whole ton. I use my distress inks all the time, and then I have my black inks, and on occasion I bust out a color. But I just, I'm trying to, we only have so much money to spend, right? So I've been trying to prioritize, but I finally broke down and I bought some of these inks. I got a really good deal. It was kind of nice. A fellow crafter was getting rid of some supplies that she didn't need anymore, so I was able to get them at a good price. And I wanted to try this out, and I thought that this sweet lilac color matched my little purple dragons perfectly. So as you can see, I'm kind of doing some light blending right in the middle here. I have a super light touch, and that's why I'm going over it so many times. And this is even sped up at 2 times, and it's still taking me this long to blend this little tiny area because I'm just going super light because I don't want to have a bunch of lines all over my card. So they do blend like butter, so I gotta say, so far pretty impressed. Can't wait to do some stamping with these inks, but I really liked the way that this turned out. You can see there, that's the sweet lilac. And I think that the purple matches my little dragons like beautifully. And you could see on my blending tool, I used half of one of the rectangle blending pads I had left over. So I snipped it in half and put it on my round tool, and it worked just the same. So if you have not the round tools hanging out at home, like, or the round pads, like, just cut them up and make them fit on your round tool. Like, it's all the same stuff, so it doesn't really matter. So when I cut that film strip die, out of the Nina, I also cut it out of some 2mm white craft foam. I want some dimension behind this, and I didn't want to take the time to cut little teeny tiny strips out of a whole bunch of foam tape. So I just went ahead and cut it right out of craft foam. So I'm just going to use my Zig Glue pen and get some adhesive on there and line this up. Now sometimes I find when you cut craft foam with a die, it squishes itself into the die and it cuts out, and then after it sits for a couple minutes, it kind of fluffs back up a little bit and it expands just a little bit outside of where it was supposed to be. So I'm just kind of trimming a couple spots off here because I felt like my foam was puffing up a smidge and I just wanted to line it back up with that Nina piece there on the top. So no big deal. It doesn't hurt it or anything. It's just something that sometimes happens with craft foam, I've noticed. So I'm going to put a acrylic block on top of that and let the glue really sink in while I mess with my sentiment here. So this is the Painted Hello die from Simon Says Stamp. And I not only cut it out of some Simon Says Stamp black cardstock, but I have cut it twice out of some 2mm black craft foam. So I wanted it to match the black sentiment that I cut. So I went ahead and used black craft foam. You don't have to do this. You could totally use white, or you could use, if you feel like cutting up your little tiny pieces of foam tape, by all means, go for it. But I am going to go ahead and line up the piece of black cardstock with the piece of black craft foam so that I get some dimension here. And it just takes a moment to kind of line that up and squish it around in place and get it right on there. And this one I didn't have much fluffing of my craft foam, so that was good. And I actually cut that twice out of the craft foam, and you'll see later how I use that to add even more dimension to this super dimensional fun card. So now I'm going to start building my card here. So I'm going to put my film strip die there, and then I'm going to take some of these adorable little dragons that I have finished adding the details to, and then I ran them through my brother's Scan and Cut and let that cut them out for me so that I didn't have to deal with any fussy cutting. So I am loving that machine. Works absolutely great. So you can see how beautifully it cut those out. And I just love that little sleepy one, like right on top of the middle of the film strip. I just think it's so cute. Like he couldn't stay in his square. I don't know. I just think it's fun. I like tell stories for my cards in my head all the time. So that's my story for this one. So now that I have an idea where I want them, I'm going to start adhering things to the card. So this little guy needed to be trimmed a little bit so that he fit in his square. So I'm just going to trim him down, and I'm going to start by gluing him onto the card base directly, and that's kind of going to be my reference point for the rest of my layout here. So while I'm putting this layout together, because it's pretty self-explanatory if you watch what I'm doing here, I just wanted to say to you guys that I am so sorry. I have not had a video up in almost a month. So I have had just this crazy April. Was just insane. So my sister got married in Cabo San Lucas on the 15th, which was fabulous. But that meant we spent a week in Mexico, which again, fabulous, and that's totally great. But it cut out of my crafting time. And then promptly when we got back from Mexico, I got the flu and I was out for the count for like a week. I was in bed. It was super rough. I didn't even have the energy to like color in my coloring book or anything. It was ridiculous. So once I recovered from that, I went back to work, and then I had an out of town work trip for 3 days. And so I left for that, and again, just like could not craft. And I have been like, oh my gosh. So I did do a Mint Owl Studios design team video that is up on the Mint Owl Studios YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed over there, make sure you head over and subscribe. I'm on their design team now. I'm so super excited to be a part of that design team. The products are fabulous. The people are fabulous. It's just great. But when I do videos for them, it's over on their YouTube channel, so you guys don't see it here. And then I have a whole bunch of crafts that I've been crafting. I just haven't had the time to sit and edit the videos. So hopefully in the next few days, you guys are going to get bombarded by all these videos from these projects that I've been doing. So that's where I've been, if you've kind of wondered why there's been like a whole month lag between when I last did a video and now. So anyway, back to the project. So I want this hello sentiment to pop up on top of that film strip, which is already popped up. So that's why I cut it out twice out of the craft foam. And then because I'm going to kind of overlap it with the film strip, I went ahead and trimmed off the top of that second piece of craft foam sentiment, and I'm just going to glue the bottom half onto my sentiment. This is going to allow me to butt it up against the film strip die and still have the dimension, but the whole word will be supported. So it's going to be double thick on the bottom and only single thick on the top. So it'll still pop up above the film strip, but be supported all the way down. So I hope that made sense. You'll kind of see at the end when I give you a close-up of just the dimension on this product, what I kind of mean by that, like how it's sitting on there. So it did take me a second to kind of line that bottom up, and I love my Zig glue pen to death, but it's not like a super strong, fast grabbing adhesive, so it wanted to wiggle around, and every time I moved it, it was wiggling around some more. So I finally got it where I wanted, and I set it under an acrylic block so that it could really grab hold. And once I felt like that was finally on there, I'm going to go ahead and put some more adhesive on the back, and I'm putting it on both layers, so the super thick layer and the other layer. And then when I stick it on my card, you can see here, I'm just going to butt that bottom layer up against that bottom of that film strip, and then push everything down, and it's nice and solid, and it won't bend or get wonky when you send it through the mail, which I am planning on sending this card through the mail, so I wanted to make sure that that was the case. So I'll share with you guys really quick the extra detail that I put on the little dragons. I used my Stardust Clear Jelly Roll pen to color over the horns and the wings. I added some of that as well as some little spots on kind of their head and their back and their tails. And I also used my white Signo Uniball gel pen for some spots on the head and the tails, and then on their little cheeks. And then over their eyes, I used my black Jelly Roll glaze pen, which kind of adds a little bit of shine and dimension. And then once that was dry, I used my white gel pen to put the dots back on their little eyes. So that's the detail that I added to the dragons. So now to finish this up, I'm going to bust out some Pretty Pink Posh sequins, and I am using the sparkling clear, and I have got all three sizes. Well, there's actually 4 sizes, but I'm using the 10mm, the 6mm, and the 4mm. And you can see that I just chopped up that 10mm one because I wanted it to sit up against there, and I couldn't squish it underneath the craft foam. So don't be afraid to alter your sequins. Like that one was super big, so you could barely even tell that I'd cut it, and it worked out super well. So the other color that I'm using here is the Lavender Moon 6mm sequins, and these are some of the iridescent ones, and they are breathtaking. The iridescent sequins from Pretty Pink Posh are gorgeous. So I adhered all of those down with some micro glue dots, and then I had one little dragon left over that's like waving. So I went ahead and stuck him on the inside of the card in the corner just to kind of tie the inside in. I'm making it a goal to try to finish the inside of all my cards. So that is the card for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this project. I'm going to show you a close-up here of all of the awesome dimension that you get with using that craft foam. So you can see what I mean now about that double dimension behind the sentiment, how it's on top of the film strip and then also double layered below. And there's those cute little dragons sitting on that film strip. I just love them. I think they're so cute. So thank you guys so much for watching. All the supplies that I used are listed below and over at my blog at curlycues.blogspot.com. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and hit subscribe, leave me a comment. I'd love to chat with you guys. And you can check out the description box below for more crafty inspiration and to join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram. Thanks guys. Bye.